Good morning, everyone. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV. You got the coffee ready. It is 3:13 in the morning in America, and I got
Look at his
some
dad's
nice.
mug. I love it.
Yeah, man, I got a lot of
Commitment
mugs.
for you.
I always put a little bit of ice in there though, because I can't handle coffee too hot.
You can't handle it too hot.
No, I need a little bit of comfortability. But welcome to the channel, and hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And it is the last presser of the year, of the season, basically. Wynn thinks we're gonna have many transfer pressers coming up, but I doubt it. But if anything, they'll add them all up and present the players together in one presser, man. Usually it's done that way nowadays. But regardless, hopefully he's right. Hopefully he's right. We definitely need it. We definitely need players, to say the least. So we started this presser shows this season, and it's been a hit, to be honest. So we're knackered that it's going, but it'll be back next season. Regardless, thank you everyone for your support, and we'll try to bring you as many shows as we can every single day during this off season. So welcome everyone, and we got Wynn and Gary, of course. So breaking news, man, we got the home kit released today, and I must say I really do like it. It looks pretty sharp. It's pretty good. I think it has some resemblances of the ones that have been leaked, maybe, but not really though. The one that was leaked a while back looked transparent. It looked
it's a miles off what it is now.
Miles
isn't it?
off, and it's the same shirt that gets leaked every off season. So I'm sure it will be leaked again, and people will lose their mind. But yeah, the club wouldn't do anything crazy like that. But I like the shirt. I like the blue on it, and it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good.
I agree. I love the fact that they've incorporated the blue, the pinstripe, if you like, or however you want to call it. I think it looks classy. Again, people are always going to be hit and miss with the strips, because there's only so much you can do with black and white stripes.
Yeah.
Some people,
The one thing you shouldn't do is stop them being stripes.
They are stripes, man.
That's what I said. If you was to look at this from a distance, you wouldn't tell, but obviously up close, you can see that there's from a distance.
The strip looks
but it's extreme. It's personal preference, but they are stripes. It's not like it looks something totally different. They're just. The outside of the stripe looks a little bit, I don't know, faded but they're still stripes. So
I quite like it. I mean, Darren Lee's just asked the question in there. Do you think they'll wear it on Sunday? Apparently, that's what they're doing.
They're going to wear it on Sunday.
It's cool. Yeah, it's already been out there. Yeah, it's been worn against Everton.
Oh, interesting. Well,
it's the advertisement, obviously, because it all gets. Is it the 20? Well, I mean, it's in the shops now, isn't it? I thought it was the 29th. It actually gets released
with the same badge.
Yeah, with the same badge.
Yeah, but the same badge we kind of knew, because they're not going to have time to change it and do all of that. I mean, as we know, these shirts are already printed with too much time ahead. I expect a new badge at the end of next season, though. So that's when I would expect they're going to do it. But I like it, and it does surprise me that they will use it at the end of the season. I figured it would be for next season. But it's a good marketing strategy as well, to get people hungry.
Well, that's happened loads of times in the past where they've worn the following season's shirt on the last home game.
Yep, and so I'll be getting that one. So we'll just and this shirt here just going onto the wall, I guess. But I won't be buying as many shirts as this season, though. This season, I think it's just been crazy. Because of Adidas, but we'll see. Hopefully they release my favorite kit. With the collar. That'll be lovely.
I mean, I'm not sure there's going to be a lot of fans queuing up for the green. I think that's one of those colours that again, it's like Marmite. You either love or hate it. There's no, halfway house with that. If I'm honest with you.
But again, I mean, people are saying green for Saudi and all that, which is fair comment. But we've had plenty of green kits in the past.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember the time. I mean, even people still question me now when I wear the yellow and green. The old, because everybody keeps saying, why are you wearing the Man U colours?
Quite honestly, that's probably
the Newton Heath colours, as you call it.
That's probably been the only time though. In the other the stripes.
We had the Brazil strip, didn't we?
Yeah,
well, that was blue though.
Yeah, that was blue shorts.
Blue and yellow.
But
I had the green one with a navy stripe.
We only
ever wore it once against Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, so but it's that one and then the Brazil is still around the same areas, and then never again. And we got the yellow one in the Ashley era.
Yeah.
That's the one time we got yellow.
I'm just talking specifically about the green, not being. It's not uniquely because of the Saudi influence. We've had green historically.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I quite like the thought of them bringing the bridge, the arch, into the shirt. I think that's got a nice touch. But I would have, for me, if they were going to do something like that, it would have been nice to have had maybe the Tyne Bridge actually in the background, like type of thing. Faded out something, rather than just making a.
We got to bring those '90s shirts, man, with the goalkeeper shirt. With the whole bridge right in front of the whole shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Pavel Cernacek's shirt.
Yeah.
So what?
That was the no, that wasn't meaning this season. This shirt is in particular, this is the winter shirt. I was meaning the whole 2024 design.
We'll be having plenty more winter shirts. Don't worry about that.
Certainly hope so. And so yeah, Eddie Howe should be coming out at any moment now. So we're waiting on him, and yeah, it should be a good presser, the last one, and maybe we'll be asked about the strip. I don't know, but
it's injuries are going to be the thing again, aren't they?
Excuse me, injuries. Isak, it'll be a good one to know about, and yeah. It is a very important match in the weekend, so very, very important.
It's squeaky bum time.
Season defining, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, some of the things. I mean, you got to think about managing the pressure. Because it's the expectations of the fans. You're at home as well, so there's a lot more riding on this game than just the result, if I'm honest with you, because you've got to think, you're potentially, again, even though I know it's being advertised that they're going to be played in the new strip, you're advertising a new strip, you're playing at home under a sellout crowd. They're issuing everybody with free drinks to say thank you for your support throughout the season. So there's a hell of a lot building up to the game itself before you've even kicked a ball. And then obviously you've got the expectations of the Champions League then in front of you. So for me, I think, you'll hear in the presser today, it's how are you managing the players under that type of pressure?
Win, put your mic literally touching your lips, please. People complain. Exactly. Keep it like that. Don't move away from it.
Hey, dogs.
And speak up, because people can hear you. We got to get that sorted. I don't know for some reason.
I'm not saying anything, that's why.
And well, everybody's been saying your mic's quiet, so please put your mouth to the mic. All right. So, by the way, interested Newcastle posting fancy free pre-match drinks this Sunday.
Yeah.
So if you want drinks before, what time is the game? Well, it should be about.
It's 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. So all fans with a match ticket will be entitled to 2 free drinks this Sunday with entry between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. So there you go.
Exactly, aye. There's not going to be anybody there. Although, as Lewis told us last time for the Chelsea game,
Get closer.
there was 20,000, you reckon, in the ground by 11 o'clock. So, good.
I mean, everybody, like
But
I say,
anybody who's an aficionado of the channel here, we'll all be in Aspers from 12 o'clock. Or Bally's as it is now. So get yourself down there and meet us before and after the match.
Come on and say hi. Are we still having a end of the season party?
Well,
when are we doing it?
I don't know. When?
We'll see how many people turn up at Aspers. See if it be worthwhile organising it either.
Well, you mentioned something before, but so let us know. Would you show up to NUFC Talk TV end of season meetup and greet and
Shindig?
meet? Should be a good one. Anyway,
Yeah,
We shall
I know Roger Cook will be there though. That's a fact.
Roger will be there, and the twins will be there.
Yeah, man.
All of the faces. Get yourself down, mate.
Well, it isn't organized as the end of the season party. It's just he's just basically saying come to Aspers. But I got to be on here. Says Mighty Mag, watch out for the numpties. There you go. Alan Mawson says sounds like a great idea. So there you go. Jacob Scott, Aspers the casino. Yep.
Yeah.
I still have the membership for there. Only place open past a certain time. So
Well,
actually,
that was back in the day, indeed. Yeah, 24 hours.
Actually, Aspers Casino is the place that we gather up the most. In
the sports bar, Stowell Street entrance. You don't need to go up into the casino itself. Just straight off the street into the bar.
So they're gonna have to put up some money. Aspers Casino. If you're watching, come on now.
£4 a pint.
Wait.
Speak up and yell.
Including
Speak up
all
and
your
yell.
premium drinks.
And your voucher, though. Don't forget your voucher. You get your free voucher.
Yeah, that's not every week, but most weeks you get a £2 voucher with every pint to go up and put in the casino. So that works out effectively £2 a pint. Not a bad deal.
Not a bad deal. I'm still.
All right.
I just, like we said before. I just hope to God in the off season, they get this bloody internet system sorted out and the mics system sorted out. Mm-hmm. So when we listen to the pressers in future, we can hear the blooming journos talk. Because even for us, you're only you a lot of the time you're guessing what they're saying from the answers that Eddie gives. So and then you find out exactly what they've said. Obviously, when you read up on it. So for me, the biggest thing in the off season is to get the media centre bloody organised and sorted, so we don't have issues with streaming and stuff like that.
Which is actually interesting. Shout out to NUFC 360, which is they do, I think, content as well. And they got a big Twitter following. I think they're trying to get into YouTube, but they commented under Jamie Rubin last week as he was thanking the fans for going to the last away game, and they commented under his post saying, "Could you make it 2 free drinks on Sunday? Not fancy joining us in the Gallagate?" Asking Jamie Rubin, and Jamie said that's an interesting idea, and lo and behold, you can get 2 free drinks before this before this match. So there you go. Maybe
it's
that's
his birthday today, isn't it?
Maybe that's what got it kicked off. So
yeah, I think it's obviously celebration his birthday weekend. So as it's his birthday, so happy birthday, Jamie! If you're watching, I mean, of course you're watching.
Jamie, you never know, man. You never know. My man Stelios, Tottenham fan, is sending me videos, bantering me about the win. That's a win doesn't get the part. He only thinks about Newcastle. But all my Spurs fans bantering me about their cup that they won. Fuck me, I gotta deal with that. But he said,
"Do you know how you deal with that?" Congratulations, well done.
No, I will never say congratulations to another English team, man. Never. But they on their channel they had this account that it was just it was just a one name and no picture, and they kept killing what's the striker name now, Richarlison. They kept, I mean, he just, Richarlison hasn't been a good striker for him. A lot of attitude and all that, and they kept killing him. But there's this account that always defended him no matter what, but not as in Richarlison is the best striker in the world, but like passionate. Like, how would you know? You wouldn't know this. You would blah blah blah. And they all have that conspiracy theory that it is him or somebody close to him that would comment and that would. You never know, by the way, and it's all about algorithm based, by the way. So if they're on YouTube, which they are, you might something will get to them. So I guarantee you, somebody famous or related to the club has at some point in time watched this channel or seen it scroll through their feed. So yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. Trust me. You might.
There you go. Happy birthday for tomorrow, Kev Ball.
Happy birthday, Kevin.
Happy birthday,
weekend.
Kevin Bell, man. Bell, you can call
Bell.
him Kevin Bell.
All right.
You know what's crazy? I always thought it was Ball as well, but happy birthday to Key 88 as well. Oh no, that was last weekend. Never mind. Well, it's still happy birthday. That he went to Arsenal away. He jinxed us.
Yeah. Apologies.
But anyways, refresh win just in case. And yeah, we're waiting on Eddie to come out and have his say.
I'm going to phone my mate up in Stockport and tell him to change his bloody name to Kevin Bell. I've got more chance of recognising it, Mr. Ball. Yeah, happy birthday, Mr. Ball.
It's ball time.
They're all ribbing him now in the chat. They'll all have a go.
All right.
Oh, bless you.
Today's Friday. No quiz night tonight, and so this will be our only show today. And tomorrow we're off as well, so we'll be back on Sunday, and we'll have a good coverage of.
It's the final countdown.
It certainly is.
It's a final countdown. I mean, I'll just be saying in the green room, it's horrible to think that what to do in the off season. What do you guys do in the off season? When I was going to say in the chat, do you guys get a little bit lost on a weekend, knowing that there's no football? I mean, obviously this is a year where we've got no Euros or World Cups either, so it's a void year.
There's no. Last season we had the Euros and the Copa America.
Yeah,
I remember that. Now it's weird. For a month and a half, we'll be with nothing. I think so. But the pre-games will be back at some point. So, it's weird.
Oh yeah. Well, I suppose the Club World Cup is on, isn't it? But I mean, that's like I say, a pre-season stuff. So we've still got a couple of weeks.
It'll be transfers, of course, going nuts. Next week on Wednesday, I got scheduled a Newcastle United season review. So for you guys at 2 p.m. And then I'm going to try to do a Premier League review with some folks on Tuesday. But anyways, Eddie Howe, win volume.
Here we go.
All the way up, mate.
So it is.
I did have a very quick scan of your message. Just give me the brief.
You just run across.
Yeah.
So it's for charity. So it's like.
What charities is it?
It's a hospice.
Hospice, okay. Okay.
Hello, Luke.
Morning, Lee.
Hello, Luke.
Guess that.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the final presser, or pre-match presser of the season ahead of Everton on Sunday. Please keep your phones away from microphones because there's a little bit of disruption with it last week. We'll start with Matthew.
Good morning, Eddie. Firstly, can you update us on Alexander Isak, who wasn't with you at Arsenal? You said minor groin injury last week. How's he doing?
Yeah, he's doing okay. He's hasn't trained with us yet, but he's made good progress through the week. next couple of days will be absolutely crucial to his availability on Sunday.
So at this stage, there is a chance that he could play some part against Everton.
Yeah, there's a chance. It's difficult to give any more than that, really. Until he trains with us, we won't fully know how he's going to respond to the training and the demands that the game will place upon him. We'll only play him if he's fit to contribute. But at the moment, he has an opportunity, potentially.
When we spoke to you last week, you said it was probably unlikely that Joe Linton would feature again this season. Is that still the case, or could he be back on Sunday?
No, Joe Linton won't be back. He's had another injection in his knee, which was always on the cards potentially for him. So he's in a knee brace only as a protection from that injection, really. He's making good progress. So we envisage that he will be back for pre-season with no problems.
And what about Kieran Trippier?
Yeah, he's a player, again, probably in a similar situation to Alex. He hasn't trained with us yet, and he's had a sort of an absence of maybe 2.5 weeks. But has a chance maybe in the next couple of days to build up his load, and maybe we'll see him train tomorrow. Let's wait and see.
After the result last weekend against Arsenal, you know it comes down to Sunday against Everton at home, and it will determine which European competition you play in next season. What would you say about the mood among the players this week? Because you know you're guaranteed European football. You'll finish in a great position after a wonderful season. But there's one more thing that you want to achieve. Yeah,
I think the mood's been really good. I think there was a disappointment after Arsenal, not so much on the general performance, but more on the result. I thought we deserved more from the game. But I think, training's been lively this week. The lads have been in good spirits. I think they're looking forward to the challenge that we face on Sunday, and I think they're looking forward to what should be a great atmosphere, a great occasion, and hopefully that consistency of performance that we've had for a long time continues. Certainly I know the desire to do well is there, and hopefully we can put it all together.
And on that point about a great atmosphere, how pleased are you that this fixture is a home one and it's at St James's Park? You're playing Everton. I'm sure you wouldn't have wanted it to be the final match at Goodison Park, but just to be at home against whoever for such a big game.
Yeah, I think that's what we would ask, to be at home in front of our supporters. It's in our hands. I don't think we can ask for any more at this moment. Then, of course, you have to do the difficult part and take that opportunity. And it's by no means a given. Everton have been in really good form. They've been difficult to beat, haven't conceded a lot of goals. So we know the challenge is a big one. They've got threats in their team as well. So we're going to have to be focused, concentrate on what we need to do to win the game. And hopefully then the crowd can carry us through.
And because it's in your hands, if you do your job, then you'll be there. But if something goes wrong, you could get a favour from another team. But do you have to forget about other matches and the results on Sunday and focus only on yourselves?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think we can look for any favours from anybody. We have to do our bit. And that's purely going to be the only thing in our minds. There'll be no talk of other results or other teams. What will be in that respect. Afterwards we'll see and reflect. But for us, we know what we have to do.
Last couple of things. Season finishes on Sunday. So what happens next week for you and the players? Is that it, or some of them in for rehab and injury recovery, or does everyone just go?
Well, the majority will go, all being well. They're in good physical condition and they go on their holidays pretty quickly. I think for the injured players, the ones that have remained injured, Lewis Hall, Matt Targett trained with us this week, so that was a good sign. Joe Linton will continue to recover with his injury throughout the summer, but the majority of players will get that rest.
And very finally, do you know yet when you'll return for pre-season? Do you have the dates and the schedule? Yeah,
we do. The plan at the moment is the 7th, I believe, of July. And obviously that can possibly change, but that's at the moment what we're looking at.
Thank you. Keith?
Eddie, I guess you would have taken the situation before a ball was kicked at the start of the season, needing a home win against Everton to qualify for the Champions League.
Yeah, I think when you look back, I think it's sometimes a really good thing to do, just to reflect back to the start of the season. And the start of the season, actually, the first few games were difficult for us. If you cast your mind back, I think we got a couple of good results, but performances weren't quite where they needed to be. So I think then if you sort of go back to that period, and certainly we spoke about the Brentford game a lot, but after that game, if you'd put us in this position, you'd have said it was a monumental effort from the players to catapult us up the league into, with a chance of qualifying for the Champions League with one game to go, winning obviously the Cup like we did, would have taken that for sure.
You've just gone through with Razor there the injury issues you've got surrounding a few of your players. I know obviously not ideal for the final game of the season, but it feels like because you've kind of switched from the 4-3-3 to a 3 at the back at times over the last couple of weeks, allied to the injuries you've got, it feels like you've got a couple of big decisions to make with regards to team selection.
Yeah, certainly being flexible in our setup has been something we've wanted to be that team all season. I don't like teams sort of getting a direct read on what we're going to do and just one way of doing things. So it's been interesting to see towards the end of the season. I thought we played really well in that system, but also 4-3-3 has sort of been our standard system. We've done really well in that one as well. But I think it's the sort of debate that I have is trying to pick your best players into your best system. You know, sometimes the players make the system as well, and if you're missing those players, sometimes then you might have to have a little rethink. So we've sort of been in that position for a few weeks, but the team's functioned really well, and the Arsenal performance I thought was really strong. The Chelsea performance was really strong. So yeah, I think I do have some decisions to make.
With regards to Alex, I mean, it sounds as though it's touch and go. Is the plan to try and to see him train today, or are you leaving it right up until the last minute?
No, I think we'll leave it till tomorrow. But obviously this week he's been training just individually and building up his load. So he's been running and feels okay at the moment. But of course running is one thing and kicking a ball and doing all the other things that you need to do is another. So far what he's been asked to do, he's done it pain-free and he's done it well. So the next 2 days will be absolutely crucial.
You've got options up there though, haven't you? Because Callum came back, started last week, got a good hour 70 minutes under his belt. Anthony, we've seen, can play through there, and of course you've got, it looks like Will Osula desperate to be involved as well. So the good thing is you do have options. Yeah, we do. I thought Callum led the line well last week. He went into the game feeling a little bit unwell himself, came through that fine, and put in a good shift. And I think the thing with Callum that you always know you're going to get is the understanding of the role, the understanding of his responsibilities from all areas, all aspects of the game, whether that's pressing, whether that's, where we need him to stand from various aspects of the game. So his knowledge and his understanding of the game is at the highest level. And I thought for probably 30, 35 minutes on Sunday, he played really well. Will is, Will, he's unpredictable. He's got touches and moments that, can really hurt the opposition. So he's a good option for us. And Anthony, as you say, has played as a 9. He plays it slightly differently to the other two who are sort of out and out centre forwards. But it's good to have those options for that position. Can I just ask you one more on the transfer window? There's this sort of additional, I think, week or so bolted on to the beginning of it now due to the Club World Cup. The transfer window is essentially opening on the 1st of June. Does that? I mean, it looks as though some clubs are almost trying to be active already and trying to get to work really quickly. Does that affect you at all?
I think my mindset's always the same when you come to this time of the year. You want to act quickly because usually the best players, the best available options will move quite quickly. And I think if you're too late to react, you can miss out on potential transfers that really could make the difference. So I'm sort of the mindset you need to be ready in every moment, whether that's early, whether that's late, or whether that's in the middle. We pride ourselves on identifying our targets quickly, and then we have to act quickly and efficiently as a football club. Thank you.
Andy?
Well, Neddy, in this most surreal of seasons, what's been the most surreal moment for you, would you say, if you're going to reflect?
I think the whole cup final experience on the day was probably that moment for me. I think if you're going to plan a day and trying to in your head dream how you wanted the game to go, it would have been that day. And then the scenes afterwards, very surreal, very strange feeling. But looking back, just with so many great memories from that experience. So I think that was a day, but I hope there's another one to come, and that potentially could be Sunday for us, because I think we shouldn't underestimate the size of the achievement. When you look at all the other clubs that we're fighting and competing with, you sort of realise how special this achievement could be.
I know it's not your area, but the announcement about the new strip out this morning, you'll have seen it before, I imagine. What's your impressions of it away from football?
Yeah, it's not something I've given too much attention to, but I do take great sort of, that's the word, I don't know, pride is the right word, but towards the shirt, because it's so iconic. For me, there's very few recognisable strips, you know straight away who it is, but Newcastle is one of those. And yeah, I like the strip, and I think it's important for me that the players like it as well, because they're the ones that got to wear it and wear it with pride and feel good playing in it. So I think that's really important, and of course the supporters are key too, because the amount of sales we have of the shirt is incredible. So I certainly hope they like it too.
If Newcastle were to win, hypothetically, on Sunday, make Champions League, of course, with the Carabao Cup win as well, would this be your best managerial season, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. I think when you add the two things together, again, I don't sit up at night putting my seasons into an order. But I think it's relevant. I think it's here and it's now. And I think the cup final success was unbelievable for us. I think it was a real game changer, a history moment. But I think the Champions League is one of those things. It's such a tough thing to, as I say, look at the teams we're competing with. It's such a tough thing to achieve. And the players that did it 2 years ago, that was a monumental effort. But this would mean just as much.
You mentioned the atmosphere on Sunday, the expected atmosphere on Sunday. There's expected to be a big display again from War Flags. Can you sum up the impact that War Flags have had on the atmospheres, not just this season, but in your time already at Newcastle?
Yeah, I think it's initially it was a purely unique thing. It was I only saw us doing it, and War Flags was a real innovative idea and something that now I see sort of copied by other clubs, but I think War Flags were the standard bearers of it. And it's not just the displays, but it was the thought behind the displays. It was at the right time. A player needed a lift or a boost. I think it gave them that. And also makes the players feel valued and special, and just creates a different dynamic here that I don't think is replicated at many other places. So I can't thank them enough for what they've done. The effort, the time, the money to deliver those things is not underappreciated by us. So yeah, they're very, very special and a big part of what we're about here.
Just finally, where's your own summer holidays this year, if you do actually get any time away?
Why, you fancy coming? I can't tell you lot, can I? I can't tell you a lot of it. No, it's I'll be leaving pretty early because it's half term for the kids. So yeah, away quite early, and then I'll try and get away again, spend some time with the family.
Have a good time anyway.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Andy. Alistair?
Hi, Eddie. This is still a great season regardless of what happens on Sunday, but will it feel like that if you don't make the Champions League?
I think the football emotions swing so quickly that possibly not in that moment it will feel like a huge disappointment to us, because we've been in there fighting all season. Well, not all season, probably the 2/3 of the season in those positions. So I think if we were to miss out, that would be a tough one to take. But yeah, then you have another chance the next season to go again. But I think we know what we need to do and what we want to do, and all our emotions are towards that.
The players have shown that they're always up for the big occasion. How is it that they always seem to turn up in these really big matches, particularly this season?
Yeah, I'm reluctant to sort of say that, because it sounds like then I'm setting ourselves up. But I think we have, this season so far, we've attacked the games. I think we've been fearless in our approach. I think that helps. And then galvanised by the crowd, I think that combination of those things has allowed us to rise to whatever occasion we're playing in. Now, this is a unique test. This is a different game. And as I said earlier, Everton will be tough opponents for us. So we take nothing for granted. We have to be relaxed, but we also have to be in that sweet spot that I've said many times. When you go into these types of games, if you're not in the right emotional state, these games are difficult.
And there's another big match this weekend, Sunderland at Wembley. I think you might have been asked the other week, but Would you prefer to see them come up, or will you be watching with a Sheffield United scarf around your neck?
I think just see my answer from, was it a week ago, 2 weeks ago?
Come on.
I don't think I'll go through it again.
Thanks, Alistair. Okay, we've got the written, we'll add Sundays at the end, so please bear that in mind. We'll start with Damien, go to Louise, and then to Ian, please.
Hi, Eddie.
Hi, Damien.
Alex has been at the centre of so many of your big moments over the last couple of years. If you can get him on the pitch, is there one left in this season?
For sure, there's one left in him. We'd love him to be fit and available for the game. He has to be fit to give his best, though. I think that's clear, and we wouldn't risk him being not able to deliver what he needs to do. He has to be free in his movement and everything, because he's that kind of player. You know, he's electric at his best. So let's see. But if it's not him, then there's space for someone else, and I think that's the key thing. Someone else needs to step up and take that mantle.
Louise?
Hi, Eddie.
Hey.
Is there any part of you that now sees Tino Livramento as a left back rather than a right back?
I think the beauty of Tino is he can do both. I think he's been absolutely outstanding at left back, I have to say. I think he's been brilliant. I think for some players, playing on the wrong side can really open up the pitch, and I think for Tino it's been that for him. His left foot's actually pretty good. He's produced some brilliant crosses off that, standing the ball up, back post. But also then when he comes into his right foot, he's got obvious strengths. But the biggest thing, I think, he's got a great football brain, and I think that's allowed him to play with real freedom. We've asked him to do a couple of things different tactically, and he's been able to, depending on what the team needs.
And is there any tiny part of you that counterintuitively thinks that getting into the Europa League, it's a winnable trophy, perhaps a more getting into the Europa League, it's a winnable trophy, perhaps a more winnable trophy than the Champions League?
No.
Or is that sacrilege and heresy?
No, we'll go for the highest that we can. That's always been my philosophy. We'll go for the top and see where we can go. If that's not to be, then we'll try and then fall in line and try and get the best competition that we can. But Champions League is our aim. No disrespect to any other competition, but that's where we want to be.
Thank you. Ian?
Good morning, Eddie. And not surprisingly, the stats suggest you're a far more effective team with Isak in the side. Are you confident that if he doesn't make it, you can scale the height you've invariably scaled when he is in the side?
Yeah, I am confident because I don't think we're ever truly reliant on one player. The team's strength is the team. Yes, to have a good team, you need good individuals within it, but we pride ourselves on being very team orientated, team focused. We know that every member of the team is so important to the delivery of what we do. So I always say if someone's missing, and we're missing some key players in our recent run, and more so than Kieran Trippier, Joelinton, Lewis Hall, these are players who have had huge impacts, but we've still been able to be successful without them. And that'll be the case if Alex doesn't make it. Someone else has to step up and grab the mantle.
You're not playing a top six side, you're at home, but since David Moyes came into Everton, they've arguably been the toughest nut to crack in the whole Premier League. And are you aware it could possibly take right up to the closing minutes, maybe? To
beat David's teams always are tight defensively, strong from set plays, all the things that you associate with the David Moyes team. They are, and they have strength. So yeah, we know that however we need to win, we're prepared to do that, whether it's late, whether it's ugly. You know, we need all our tools available, and the most important thing is that we need to be ready to adapt during the game.
Thank you. I'll go to Luke, Mark and Jordan, please. Luke?
These might bounce around a little bit, these questions. You've been asked what your highlights were. What was the most difficult period of the season for you? Because it hasn't always been easy, has it?
No, it hasn't. It's been one of those seasons, I think. But like every season, you have your highs and your lows during the campaign. I think the start was difficult. I think we had a hangover from the summer to a degree, with a few situations which was difficult to get through. The Brentford game was a real low because we conceded 4 poor goals that day, and that was sort of on the back of a difficult run for us, where we had a choice really at that moment where we were going to go with the season. Players responded brilliantly from that moment onwards. I'd say they're the two, sort of the start, if you're going to bracket it, the start and that game were the 2 low points.
What does the Champions League mean for a club like Newcastle? What does it mean in terms of reputation and prestige within the game? And is that why it's so important?
Well, I think I said last week, it's about the football achievement. It's not, everyone will talk finances, and I understand why, and of course that is important. But for us, it's about, well, you want to play against the best teams in the best competitions, and to try and win those competitions. Ultimately, that is your aim. That's why you're there competing. I think if you're competitors by nature, you take on the biggest challenge and you go for it. So that's what we're desperate to do. Obviously, there's benefits from that as well that run right through the club. So that would all be positive for us, and that's why we're so desperate to get there.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark.
Eddie, I think there's an anticipation maybe that there's going to be a lot of change in the summer. Things are going to change. Do you think Sunday will be the last time that fans will see some of the players who are going to play on Sunday, or do you think maybe we should be a bit measured about how many people are going to go out and how much change there's going to be?
Yeah, I'm not sure on the thought there, a huge change this summer. I mean, there could be. I mean, I'm in a position where I don't know what's going to happen, and you never know going into any summer with transfer activity of ins or outs. You never know the numbers. You might have a thought of what could happen. But yeah, without a doubt, this could be the last time that some of the supporters see some of the players. But I'd be saying the same at every season. In life, unfortunately, there's no guarantees, and change is a natural process. But the players that have represented the club and that are in this squad have been incredible servants, and we need to, in my opinion, pay tribute to what they've done.
You mentioned there about the football achievement of winning it, and obviously you mentioned the budget thing as well. Is there a difference if you get into the Champions League and don't, between what you can do in the transfer market? Does it make a consequential difference, or is it maybe not as big as that?
Yeah, it makes a difference. I don't know what people's perceptions would be, but it does make a difference to us. But that's not, as I said, of course that's a byproduct that we want. But you can't think about those things. You can't think about financial consequences when you're playing the game. It has a negative effect on your decision making. So that's why I just prefer to talk about the football.
Okay, Jordan.
More Neddy, Callum Wilson appeared on the podcast this week and spoke of the season being the trickiest of his career. How much have you felt for him this season, given sort of his injury troubles at the start and not being able to get in the team because of Alex's form?
Yeah, I think I've lived every emotion that he has, because obviously his injuries have a direct knock-on effect for me. So I've been in moments with Callum of high emotion where I've tried to support him emotionally, and he's been an incredible player for me over many, many years. Couldn't speak highly enough of his character, of his attributes, of his ability. But he's had some real hurdles to overcome, and none more so than this year. At the start of pre-season, he had to be really strong. He's had a couple of setbacks. Again, he's had to be strong and have the motivation levels to be as high as they are to come back and keep coming back. Touchwood, he's managed to stay fit now for a decent period of time, and he's almost gone through a pre-season while being available to play, which is very difficult for any player. I feel he's getting better and stronger all the time. He's probably been in his best physical condition right now, so probably the season ending for him is a sort of bad timing. I think Alex being fit and available, though, I think is possibly been a good thing for him, so we haven't had to thrust him in to many games from the start, which I don't think he was necessarily ready to do. But yeah, he's just an incredible person, an incredible footballer, and I've always loved working with him.
And Callum did mention his contract situation as well. Is Sunday potentially last time we could see him in a Newcastle?
Don't know the answer to that. I think with on the result and the team performance, half of the sort of the football club side, it's not been about players' futures. It's been about trying to produce a really good team performance, and then of course everything will be discussed afterwards.
Thank you.
And more Neddy, sort of unusual one away from the magnitude of this. And aka Run Jody Run won't be to raise money for St Benedict's Hospital. He's been listening. Days left in which to complete the challenge. Firstly, were you aware of this? He's quite fatigued now.
Yeah, I'm not sure I could be doing that at this moment in time, but yeah, an incredible effort, first and foremost to run a America isn't something that everyone can do. So, and I think when you're feeling tired, and I always say this to the players, you just got to try and keep going. And from his perspective, just put one leg in front of the other and deep. You're going to have to go to all your cause to raise money for. So, congrats.
Eddie, just as things stand when you look at the squad, would you say it's equipped for a European players?
Yeah, I think we'd have to sign players purely to replace the ones we lost. When you go back to January and the summer, we lost some key players that were integral to our squad dynamic. So in a couple of positions, we're lighter than we would want to be. And of course, learning from 2 seasons ago, we have the than we would want to be. And of course, learning from 2 seasons ago, we have the rigours of the Champions League format, or European competition format, should I say. And we sort of were counting the cost of that. There was no breather for us. There was no reset button. We were stuck in an injury situation that we couldn't escape from. So I would say we'd need to add a bit more depth in certain positions. But going to the earlier question, I don't think it's a squad overhaul. It's just we need good players and we need to try and add 1 or 2.
Yeah, and with Alexander Isak, you said there was no guarantees on Sunday. I think you were probably put on the spot with that question a little bit on Sunday. But do you think that's something that needs to be sorted quite soon? Just get his contract and his future under control?
Alex's?
Yeah.
Alex has got 3 years left on his deal. And of course, all contract situations with players are discussed, are talked about, but they're more delicately poised than people would sort of naturally think from the outside. There's never sort of one straight answer. So Alex is under contract. We love him to bits. We want him to stay and keep enjoying his football like he has done and continue to score goals for many years for Newcastle. That's my plan. So yeah.
Excellent. Martin?
Morning, Eddie. Have you watched the Champions League this season and how much have you missed it?
I laugh because how much have you missed it? Yeah, I mean, watching the games from the outside is different to obviously being involved in it. And watching some of the games this year bring back memories of our own experiences and how much we'd like to get back there and savour those moments again, that some of the stadiums we played at, the atmospheres we were involved in, and the nearly moments where we felt we could have achieved so much more. So yeah, I have watched, I've enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the final. Yeah, we'd love to be back there.
And we talk about the financial element of the Champions League, but can you afford to miss it from the footballing side and the development of the players, especially when you look like at the emergence of a side like PSG and what they're doing at the minute?
Yeah, football changes so quickly. You look at the PSG team that we played to the team now, and you see the growth in that team, and it's been great to see. They're one of my favourite teams to watch in world football at the moment. Of course, we'd love to stay with that that level, because that level improves your own players. There's no doubt, and improves your own team and your ability, I think, to then do well at your respective domestic competitions. So the prize is a big one, and it. Again, going back to it, that's a good question because it's all football related. That's where my thoughts are.
Okay, Dom and Kieran are right up on time, so single questions, please. We'll move to Sundays. Dominic.
Okay, morning, Eddie.
Morning.
After Chelsea, you hinted there would be a big summer ahead for Newcastle United. The PSR problems aren't there. While you can never predict the transfer window, what does a big summer look like for Newcastle United? What could it mean for the club?
I think, yeah, the difference in mentality for where we were, knowing that this time last year we were in a selling position. We needed to raise revenue. I think that's a totally different mindset to being in the one that we are now with, different mindset and different possibilities. It is a big summer for us because every transfer window is big. You want to go preferably into the new season with a stronger squad than the one that you entered with, and that's always the challenge.
Thank you. Kieran?
Good morning. Do you feel you're in a position to act efficiently, like you mentioned earlier, compared to last summer? Obviously, does it feel different even just before the window opens, the feeling around the place?
Well, I think from a recruitment perspective, definitely yes, because we knew we weren't recruiting last summer. It was going to be one of the opposite. So naturally, that's a different feeling when you're involved in the final decision. But yeah, without knowing how the window's going to unfold, you have lots of positivity at the start, and then you see how it goes through the window.
Thank you. Okay, concludes this part of the press conference. We'll move on to Sunday's cameras. You can continue rolling, but please.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the presser is off there. Sorry about the last parts. It was breaking up. It was the club system because everybody's feed was the same, so it was just breaking up. So apologies about that one, but we managed to get it out anyway. So let us know what you think now in the comment section as we take a look at some of the statements that Eddie Howe has made. So please react to it in some of the highlights. Let us know what you like, what you disliked in the comment section below. I'm delighted after what Eddie Howe, he's got seems to have a chip on his shoulder. I love it. Spoke the truth about the Champions League. I was telling Win, listen, listen closely, Win. I was guiding him throughout the whole thing. He said we are desperate to join the Champions League. I mean, there's no better words that describe what it means to play the Champions League and participate in that. So we desperately need it this weekend, and I'm sure he will put the best team that we can to be able to achieve that. But let's review it then. What do you guys think about what he said? Started with Isak.
I think it I always love to look at body language when they're asked the question, and it was very difficult for him to obviously try and hide that emotion about Isak, and as much as we said last week, he was a massive miss, and I think without Eddie slating anybody else in the side because he relies so much on a small staff to work with, I think evidence is there. Isak's missed 4 games and we've scored 1 goal from a penalty in those games that he's missed.
Yeah.
So I think we all know how important Isak is to the team. And we were talking in the review about that. And for me, personally, what he's saying there is Isak's been doing the running. Yes, he hasn't done any of the actual training with the squad yet, but he's felt no discomfort. So at the minute, we're going to see what happens tomorrow. Mate, I think it's like 80% there. He's in the squad because I think Eddie realises now for us to be Champions League team, we need all of those better players on the field, and Isak is one of those players. That
I was going to mention it. Darren Lee said no Newcastle players in today's England call-up. Fortunately, that is wrong, because Dan Burn and Anthony Gordon named in the England squad for matches against Andorra and the powerful Senegal next month. So Jacob Murphy misses out despite being having a good season, and mighty win getting signatures for him to get called up. Unfortunately, he didn't. And Tino Livramento misses out as well. So that's actually a surprising one. And Ivan Toney gets first call up under Thomas Tuchel, and he's twatting about in Saudi Arabia. So yeah, well, there you go.
I think it just shows how underperforming our forwards have been, doesn't it? The English forwards. I mean, apart from Ollie Watkins and Harry Kane, who are obviously, Harry Kane's towards the end of his career now, and it's very similar to how Wilson is now. You've just heard Eddie talk about Wilson. As much as Wilson knows what he has to do in the squad, we all know he's a yard off the pace now. And as much as he does the role to the best of his ability. And again, what I loved about Eddie there was the fact that he mentioned Wilson's obviously injury issues, and he's felt obviously every time Wilson has gone out with an injury, how much it impacts the rest of the squad, because we are very thin when it comes to our forward line, and as much as he's mentioned Asula and he's mentioned Anthony Gordon playing through the middle, once you take out your main chess piece, it's very difficult to win a match.
Yeah.
I just want to say though that
get close to it.
That stat that you brought up with when Isak hasn't been playing, we've only scored 1 goal from a penalty. What you also need to take into account is those 4 games in question were Liverpool away, Arsenal away, and I'm just checking what the other 2 were, but certainly the other 2 hardest fixtures of the season when he wasn't playing. So you wouldn't be expecting to score a boatload of goals in those matches anyway.
No, you're right. You have got to take into account the opposition, but I think it also shows you the fact that when we play a system, when you've not got a player that runs the line and moves players around, because it doesn't have to be Isak that scores goals. We've noticed today. I mean, I was quite impressed. You just mentioned Jacob Murphy. Jacob Murphy and Isak are actually top of the Premier League for goals and assists this season.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I'm saying is to run a front line doesn't mean that individual scores goals. What it means is it creates opportunities for teams or players around them to score goals. And that's what you miss when Isak's not in the team.
Right. I've just got it here. The other 2 games were Man City at home.
Yeah.
And Everton,
which is the penalty score.
Which, by the way, we had a good game. That
and
was
Everton
one of our,
away when we missed the penalty.
And we had a good game.
So all I'm saying is, to point to the fact that we haven't scored many goals when he hasn't been available, it just so happens that the 4 games that he wasn't available were, 4 of the hardest games of the season. Well, Everton perhaps not so, but if you remember the Everton game, we were all over them. We just couldn't finish our dinner.
All right, and I'm getting the post here. Lost my train of thought. And people are talking about in the chat getting onto Callum Wilson being injured, that he wasn't fit last week. And I don't know how people are assuming that. Some people say that
unwell.
He was unwell, so we don't know what unwell means. But those are the things that I'm talking about. If he's unwell, he shouldn't be playing because Isak is unwell, or he's not 100%. He's not playing. And if we're going to use the same measurement, he shouldn't be playing. Here's the thing. This is what I said Monday. Wilson just doesn't fit our style of play. We play with wings. We play with a center forward that moves a lot, that you can give him the ball. He can dribble. He can get out the box. He can do a lot of stuff. That's Isak. We don't have Isak. Wilson is not going to give you that, and nowhere near it. And that's been my issue. And
so
if you add okay, well, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, and I think Gary just explained what the same thing I'm talking about. If you want somebody that can get out, that can dribble, that can run, that can actually pull the center backs out with him and pull him in an island is what I like to call it, because center backs are not comfortable getting out the box. They're not, and Isak does that, which is put them on ice basically. And Osula could do that, but Wilson he stands there like a tree, and you just got to give him the ball and he'll push it in. That's the type of striker he is, and so he hasn't been. And when you add the Eddie Hauser, he's unwell. So what are we talking about? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Not to get at Wilson. Wilson is done at Newcastle United, as far as I'm concerned. So
I think that was the other thing that come off it, wasn't it, about his contract? And he said, that depends on what happens, where we are, and I think that is another thing. You're not going to talk about giving contracts to players when at this present moment in time there's a really massive game in front of us, and I think it depends on incomings as well. At the end of the day, we don't know how much money we've got to flirt with. And obviously going on to the incomings, it was nice to hear Eddie say about we need to act early, as soon as possible. So maybe there is something coming in June the 1st. We don't know.
Yeah, and by the way, he
to
did.
be ready to pounce.
Yeah.
He did say if he's fit to contribute, he will play. We will leave the decision on Alex. So Alex will determine whether he is healthy or not. Some players need to have the hunger as well, you know, and sometimes you got to push it. Sometimes you got to push through it.
Well, apparently it was Isak's decision not to play against Arsenal.
Yeah, well well if he isn't, then fair to him. If he isn't ready, fair play to him. But there's a fine line. There's in between, you know, being hurt and not being able to play, and being an elite, legendary player, and say I'm going to play anyway because it's my team and I can do it. Remember, Michael Jordan played with the flu. Don't forget about that. When you wouldn't know who that is, but anyway, moving on. Joe Linton.
Hey, what about the shout out for Louise though?
Oh yeah.
Michael.
For once, you didn't ask Eddie what he fed his dog or something totally irrelevant. And I thought it was a very good question. How does he think?
Close to the mic, man.
How does he think that Tino's done at left back?
Yeah. Well, he's not a left back though, so I mean.
What are you talking about, man? He's played better at left back than he's played at right back.
Yeah, I don't know necessarily if that is true. I think it's looked that way because Lewis Hall hasn't been there. But here's the thing: that you got to take into account that Lewis Hall Livramento on the left doesn't have anybody prominent on the right where you can switch the attacks. You see what I'm saying? So understand what I'm saying. With Lewis back on the left, he is excellent. So you're going to give him the ball a lot, meaning the right will be overshadowed if you compare it to Lewis Hall being on the left. When Livramento's on the left now, there's really nobody on the right that's killing it or that you can pass to. It's always going to be Livramento going on all the time. And so, listen, I think Livramento is a good wing back. But I mean, Lewis Hall comes and he'll play left back. Trust me. It's not going to be
better left back than he ever played right back.
Okay. I think you've also got to take into consideration the style of play that Newcastle play, which very dominant down that left hand side with Gordon and Harvey Barnes cutting in from that left hand side, allowing both Hall and Tino to gain some momentum down there. And it's the quality of player as well. You've also got to think that, you know, when you've got Tino and in front of him is Jacob Murphy compared to Hall and Gordon, you know, the chances of momentum being lost down the right-hand side because Jacob Murphy's first touch or whatever, or misguided pass is probably a lot higher than you get from Anthony Gordon. You've also got to look at the quality of players around you.
People asking about Joe Linton. He said no, Joe Linton won't be back. He has another injection in his knee. He's making good progress, but he's not going to be back at all. Just because I'm seeing it scroll by, it looks like an exclusive from Craig Hope. Man United tell staff they have lost their jobs just hours after defeat in the Europa League. So there you go, for whatever that's worth. And what else we got here on Eddie? Let me see. I had a few things here that I written down.
He was asked about the home.
Get closer to the mic, bro.
The home atmosphere and the war flags, which he was full of praise for, and saying the crowd will get us through if we need it. I tell you, which is what I mentioned yesterday. He said that they will not have any focus at all. The team will not have any focus at all on what's going on elsewhere. We don't want anybody else to do us favours. I think that's utter nonsense, because throughout the whole game there'll be input coming as to what's happening elsewhere. So to say it'll have no effect is bollocks. If, for example, with 10 minutes to go, we know, and let's assume what we're level at St James's Park, 10 minutes to go, and we know from other scores around the grounds that if we hang on, if we get a point, that's job done. You know, I don't care what anybody says. There will be a reluctance to press forward and take chances we'll consolidate what we've got, and vice versa. If we know for a fact that we're needing a win in the last 10 minutes, it'll be gung ho, all hands to the pump, and take more chances defensively.
I think what could happen is the pressure. If we, I don't know about losing, obviously you'll feel that pressure anyway. But if you're drawn and everybody else is won, the pressure will be on definitely. And you know, it is what it is, and you got to know how to deal with it. These players got to be tested on whether they can deal with pressure, and perform. That's just the bottom line. That's the bottom line. You know, that's what they sign up for. You know, you're either going to be the hero or a foe. Which one is it going to be? So it's just plain and simple. And that's what sometimes that makes certain players, like I would think Isak is one of those players, push themselves to say, I can't miss this game for anything. You know, so we'll see.
That's Ronald saying 5-0, because I'm waiting for his saying 5-0 he's going.
Yeah,
Wow.
put in your predictions. The last time we'll do predictions this season, and we'll try to open up the sign up, so you can sign up for the next seasons, and you know, we'll try to open that up as soon as possible.
I tell you what, I haven't got yours and Gary's. I forget what
I'm
Gary
thinking,
said yesterday.
I'm thinking.
Antagonising Geordie and RG Fox and Geordie Toon for life. They are the only ones that we're short of.
I'm not quite sure on this one.
We'll wait till a minute before kickoff and get you both, so you're not copying one another.
No, I could care less, really. You can put me down for 2-0 for now.
For now.
Yeah, because I need to think about it. It's I just don't want to forget, and then I'm screwed. So
Gary going 3-0, is he?
I'm not sure. It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one.
Oh, don't tell him. You just said in the chat 3-0.
No. I just don't.
Something and then he's putting a message on. Don't tell him.
I just don't know. I just don't.
Listen,
know.
I have
but you gotta do what
changed.
you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do, man. You gotta win. Which, by the way, is pretty close. This is Gary's chance to catch up to me, or pass actually on the league. But up to 7 positions in our table will get something, which is crazy. So, if next season you better participate on our Premier League weekly prediction. 7 people will be able to win something. So it'll be great. And yeah. So I don't know. I'm actually not sure about this one. It could be a lot of goals. It could be, but then again,
I think you better save it till a minute before kickoff and put your scores in separately and then go bang. That's the only way to do it.
Well, that's what I said. I mean, for the last few weeks, I didn't want to. I mean, it's so easy for me and Chris when we were neck and neck just to go equals. You know what I mean? But every time Chris put a score down, I'm like, well, that was something that I was going to consider. So I'm going to throw a different one in. So I've tried to make it. Every time Chris has put a shout in, I have gone something different. To unfortunately my demise taking off the top spot.
Last week, was it last week? No, the week before that was a big one for me, I think. Although,
yeah, well, you got the 2-0, didn't you?
No, last week I got 1-1. I said 1-1, and
you said 1-1, and I said 3-1 because for some unknown reason I woke up with this thing in my head saying it was 3-1. I mean, this could be this week. I mean, it could be 3-1 on Sunday. So who knows?
Yeah, very much so. Anyways,
the X is saying that about GS7 wearing a knee brace. No, when he's not wearing a knee brace, he's definitely wearing a brace.
I'm glad the X knows that. I wouldn't. And
that's knee, because knee's Geordie for no.
No, man.
He's wearing knee brace. He's wearing no brace.
What else? What else? Eddie Howe say?
I like the fact that he talked about. He was asked about the shirt. It's not something I'd give too much attention to, he said, but I do take great pride towards the shirt because it's so iconic. For me, there's very few recognisable strips where straight away you know where it is, but Newcastle is one of those.
Yeah.
I like the strip. It's important that the players like it as well, because they're the ones that have to go and wear it with pride and feel good about playing in it. That's really important. And of course, the supporters are key too, because the amount of sales we have, the shirts are incredible. So I certainly hope they like it. And I mean, to be, that's what I said. I mean, you've only got to look at, Bruno's homemade video. And I think, that's going to hit a lot of real heartstrings when you watch that, and the type of passion and pride that lad wears every time he puts the shirt on, and then you've got the support from Sao Paulo, where he's from, and his friends and his family all wear the colours with pride as well. And I think, for me, I mean, I've been a critic of Bruno this season on the captain's role, where he tries to do too much, in my opinion. But you cannot ever argue about the lad's passion towards the club. And I think that speaks volumes. And like I say, I think it'll be lovely for the lads to wear the new strip on Sunday, just so we all get obviously an idea of what it's like. But I mean, from all the photos that we've seen from the release now, it's certainly something that I will definitely buy.
Yeah, definitely.
And the other major thing to come out of the presser for me was back for pre-season 7th of July.
July, yeah. But that could possibly change, though, couldn't it? That's the thing. But they've earmarked it for the 7th of July.
7th of July. That means we got a whole month and a half, about, I think, right?
Month and a half to find nonsense to talk about.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be lots of, obviously, who's coming in and who's going out.
That's it, a lot of good
Don't
stuff.
forget, we should do maybe a bit of a pick 5 players. And you get 5 points for players that come in, and 5 players and those who are leaving. Obviously, if you get the right players to leave, and if you get so many points if you get the right player coming in. So maybe we can do a little quiz with the punters out there in viewerland, if they can pick 5 players in and maybe 5 players to leave.
We're starting to have a good time next week.
Transfer bingo.
Yeah, transfer bingo.
The transfer, listen, that's a part of covering a team and doing amateur journalistic work. Is that's a beautiful part of it. You just every day changes, and you just cover the team, and it's all good for conversation. So what I can say is, don't take it serious. It's not. It's just people. It happens all the time. People get linked to leave, to stay. It's part of it. So get used to it. If you don't like people talking about your team, something wrong with you. If people are talking about your team, you're doing something good. So I guess that's one time that I will say go back to the Ashley era, because people would bring that up every time, and compared to anything, the Ashley era was horrible. But that's one thing I would say, yeah, go back to, when nobody gave a shit about Newcastle. And which one would you rather have? So that's the next time people get mad, when a player's been linked to leave or stay. But what were you saying, Gary?
I was just going to ask you guys what your thoughts were with the news now coming out that they've delayed the new ground announcement.
Well, we will do next week a show on the Confidential from Craig Hope. He talks about the ground, Isak, new contract, and other stuff. So we'll do that next Thursday, I believe, because Monday we will do a new show, obviously reacting to what's happened on the weekend, hopefully talking about Newcastle being in Champions League. Tuesday we got a Premier League review lined up. We'll try to get fans, YouTubers from other teams to join us and talk about the Premier League's end of season, basically. Wednesday, 2:30 p.m., we'll talk about the Newcastle specific end of season review with you guys. Maybe you guys can get somebody lined up that's able to come up at 2:30. And Thursday we'll talk about this Confidential, and then scratching our head for what's next after that.
Speculation time.
Maybe we'll have a transfer show or so. So stay tuned, of course, because we'll be
think of something.
Yeah. Anyways, the David Gold says, American Gobshite, have some respect for your fellow panelists. Win is right about Livramento at left back. killing it and putting it in actual crosses, easily playing better than who at left back. He's certainly not better than Lewis Hall. So this, we always end up with the last picture, right? That's what excites us. That's what gets us going. But Lewis Hall has been the best left back for Newcastle United, and David Gold, you're entitled to your opinion. You and Wynn can go out there and have a private time when you need to, but everybody knows that Lewis Hall is the best left back for Newcastle United this season. So he'll be left back.
I would argue that.
No, you can't, because one is an England international and the other one just got snubbed. So, come on. Anyway, go on, Gary.
Listen, I'm not decrying Lewis Hall's talents. All I'm saying is, since Tino went on the left, he's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
Much better than he was on the right.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's a definite nice shout. And to be fair, like we all said, when we lost Anthony Gordon, when we lost Lewis Hall to injury, it was going to be a case of it's our strongest point. When we go down the left-hand side, it's where we always seem to want to attack from, or the start of our attack. And how are we going to be going forward? And the one thing I can honestly say is it's been a breath of fresh air, both having Tino come in at left back and Harvey Barnes start matches, because they've complemented the system as well. So it's like when you look at a transferable situation where losing just one player from or one of your starting 11, as we've seen in the past with J7 being out that midfield, sometimes the players pick the team. As Eddie Howe's just said, when you lose some of your high players, your starting 11, sometimes a formation will have to change. And that's what Eddie Howe's done to try and get his strongest team out there. Now, what I love about that, I mean, obviously you mentioned about Trips coming in at right back as well. And again, coming in and having some really good games again, behind him. When Trippier goes, obviously there's going to be a slight drop-off then on that right-hand side. So, again, the formation has been changed to support the players that he's got available to come in and do a job for him. Now, whether that's a knock against Crafty or what, because, again, when you get these players that are jack of all trades, they never master an individual area. And I think that's what you get with Kraft. He can play at right centre-back, he can play at right back. But is he the type of player that will get you to that next level? I don't think he is. And I think Eddie Howe sees that. You know what I mean? So I think I agree with what Wynn says. I think the beauty of it is in the transition, when you've got two top players out of your squad and you get players that can come in and fit in a gap and continue that momentum going forward. I think he has been a massive shout this season, and fair play to him. But again, I do think it's the quality of players.
Conversely, by the way, Lewis Hall does make Anthony Gordon look well, whereas Tino doesn't work as well with Gordon. Lewis Hall and Gordon together are formidable.
Well, actually, I'm actually thinking of I don't know if we can do this. A show. Maybe we can have three per show, but to do an individual review of each player, because there is a lot to talk about Gordon this season. A lot to talk about. But it'll be good to take a look at each individual and assess their future. Not only their future, obviously, but their whole, just review their season and whether it's enough. And I'm not just talking about Gordon in particular. I think he's had a bad season, but he'll obviously stay unless he wants to be sold, which I doubt anyway. But
yeah, it's quite interesting when you look at Anthony Gordon's XG and goal ratio. He's bottom of the tree. He's the person that holds everybody else up in a Newcastle shirt. He's the strongest player on that in that point of view.
But yeah. So anyway, I mean, we'll save it for that show. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for joining us on our last presser of the season. We'll be back again Sunday for Judgment Day, for the Purgatory. We make it to heaven or we don't.
The final countdown.
Come on! Yeah, so 3 o'clock. Here we go. The final countdown.
That's right. So anyway, thank you so much for being on the channel. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit the like button. We will see you on the next one, folks. Ciao, ciao. Take care.
How are the lads?
Lassie.